Chargers Now is presented by Prize Picks. I'm your host, Will Ortner, and we got some draft intel over my weekend. I don't know if it was quite over your weekend yet, on Akheem Mesidor and why the Chargers went out and actually made maybe the best pick of the draft, depending on how all things work out. And I believe that the Chargers got a great one. ESPN, that article where it goes into the draft details, Jeremy Fowler, he agrees with me, but the question is not in the short term or the immediacy, it is in the long term of Akheem Mesidor. Because right now, when you look at the talent, when you look at his athleticism, when you look at his production on the field, there is no reason why Akheem Mesidor should have been available at pick number 22, especially with the position that he plays. Teams are always looking for edge rushers. So why was he available? Well, it's not because teams were looking at what he can do over the next 3 to 4 years. It's about what's going to happen after that. We'll discuss here in a minute, but just let you know, we are in a sub battle right now with the other AFC West channels. We are trying to grow to become the biggest channel here at Chat Sports, and the only way for us to do that is for you to come on in and hit that subscribe button. Help us win our AFC West sub battle. I think that we're going to be able to do it. Why? Because the Chargers Now faithful are elite. Hit that sub button. I've been saying for weeks now that Akheem Mesidor should be taken well before 22. I said it before the draft, said it after the draft. So the fact that the Chargers were able to go out and get Akheem Mesidor at pick number 22 is a gigantic win for the franchise, right? It is a huge, big deal that's only going to help this team for the long run. But don't just take my word for it, because Jeremy Fowler had this to say in his report. In the short term, getting Akheem Mesidor at pick 22 is very good value. So much so that some inside the league believe he could have been picked in the 12 to 15 range if he were 22. He turned 25 in April, which seemingly played a role in his value. The draft has become youth-centric. Credit to the Chargers for leaning into Mesidor's experience and taking the best player available. So essentially, a lot of teams said, we want him now, but we don't know that we want to give him that big second contract, and he's going to put himself, Mesidor that is, more than likely in a position where he's going to deserve a halfway decent-sized second contract. So what does a second contract look like? And in the rest of the video, I'm going to explain why I don't think any of that mattered when it came to the Chargers taking Mesidor. Before we do that, though, I got to let you know that today's show is made possible by Prize Picks. Prize Picks is America's #1 sports picks app. It's the best place to win cash while watching sports. With playoff basketball finally here, there's no better time to cash in than with our friends at Prize Picks. Now, I'll tell you this, the app is really easy to use. To qualify for a Prize Picks lineup, pick 2 to 6 players and select more or less on stat projections, including points, rebounds, assists, three-pointers, hits, home runs, strikeouts, and several others across all sports. With the new social feeds feature, you can share Prize Picks with your friends and copy lineups with a single click. That includes me and producer Searle. You follow us on Prize Picks and get the picks before they even get posted on the show. Producer Searle created a lineup for the basketball action going on later on this evening. Tyrese Maxey, more on his points. Victor Wembanyama, less on his points. LeBron James, more on his points. New user offer. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code HMA when you play your first $5 lineup to receive $50 in lineups. That's code HMA when you play your first $5 lineup to get an extra $50 in lineups with Prize Picks. Clickable link to download the app is in the comments and description. So why is Akheem Mesidor a good pick? Well, let's start with the short term because I think that's most important, and then we'll dive into the long term, which is something that is clearly influencing a lot of the general managers and front offices around the National Football League. One, I think that Akheem Mesidor is instantly going to be a major piece. It didn't matter what team he was going to be on. He's someone who played in college football for quite a while. He has a lot of good production. He can play the run just as well as he can play the pass. He's a great edge setter. He's going to get after the quarterback. That's very clear. And for a team that needs an edge, well, Mesidor fits that mold. You can see right now when we look at the depth chart for the Chargers, he's right behind Khalil Mack. I think he's going to get a lot of reps, a lot of run. You have to remember that defensive coordinator Chris O'Leary is someone who is in the McDonald tree. And when you look at the Mike McDonald tree, you look at defensive ends who can play the run just as well as they can play the pass. And that's Akheem Mesidor. Now, he's got a little bit more boogie to his game than some, but he is going to be replacing a guy in the name of Odafe Oweh that's kind of a similar player, although obviously Odafe Oweh is a little bit better when it comes to getting after the quarterback. He's a little bit worse, I believe, when it comes to his edge stopping ability. When we look at Mesidor's last 4 seasons, he's someone who has been great. He stuffs the stat sheet. Obviously, he's had some injury issues, but when he hasn't been injured, man, there is no one better, or very few better at least, in this draft that could compete with Mesidor. He's also a player that plays a key position in most defenses. As an edge rusher, you're going to be asked a lot in today's NFL. That's why those position groups make the big bucks. So Mesidor, he's instantly going to add into this team, fills the need that the Chargers had. He's going to have a lot of success because he's a plug-and-play guy, and he can learn under Khalil Mack. So this is a clear, great decision by General Manager Joe Ortiz because he went out and he grabbed the best player available with a very good value, and he's going to be able to instantly make this defense better, which I think in the short term is a great deal. I am thrilled that Akheem Mesidor is a Charger. Do you agree with my sentiment there, or do you disagree? Let me know down below in the comment section. Am I on the right track? Or are you like some of these other people like Leonardo DiCaprio, maybe a little bit ageist, 25, too old for you? Let me know down below in the comment section. When it comes to the long term, though, this is an interesting conversation because I get where some of the general managers around the league are coming from. Akheem Mesidor, he's going to be 25 years old during his rookie year. So that means when you're making the decision, because he's a first-round pick, to give him that fifth-year option, he's going to be, 28, 29 years old? I mean, shoot, he gets to that fifth-year option. He'll play that fifth year as a 29-year-old, but then he would end up being 30 when that second contract comes in. So this is going to be a big decision that General Manager Joe Ortiz is going to have to make. I mean, we all kind of know the joke, but once you turn 30, for most of the players in the National Football League, that's where you see that production start to go downhill. So is Akheem Mesidor a little bit of a 25-year-old merchant? He was able to have a lot of success in college football, I guess I should say 24-year-old merchant, because he was older than everybody. But in my personal opinion, when you look at Mesidor, at least with the Chargers, who gives an F about the second contract? This is a team that is in win-now mode. And when you're in win-now mode, it doesn't matter 4, 5 years down the line. Yes, ideally, Mesidor, he's someone who has a lot of success, and he's willing to work with the team to get a good contract that keeps him in LA, but still fits with the team. But at the same time, you only have Justin Herbert for so long. That is a quarterback that can win a Super Bowl for you at any point, and he needs a strong defense built around him. You're bringing in Mesidor to replace Odafe Oweh. And when you look at the stat line from last year, Odafe Oweh was a very successful player, including getting after the quarterback. I mean, just think about that AFC wildcard game. The dude was unblockable, right? That dude did not miss a tackle for this team. He ended up having, an extra 3 sacks. So when we look at Odafe Oweh, that's clearly someone that the Chargers had to have replaced, and you were able to find that in Akheem Mesidor. When you look at Khalil Mack, over the last 4 seasons, we are seeing that slight regression come in. It makes sense. He's older than 30 years old. He's closer to 40, really, than most players in the National Football League. He is someone that needs a successor because when he was injured, that Chargers defense was really not nearly as good. When he was out on the field, though, he had a lot of success. Now, I do believe that Akheem Mesidor can be a successor to Khalil Mack while instantly replacing Odafe Oweh. Now, when Mack eventually retires, the Chargers are going to have to go get someone that kind of supplements him and gives them that depth. But I think that Mesidor, while maybe not being exactly what Khalil Mack is, because that's essentially saying that he's going to be a Hall of Fame level player with Hall of Fame level production, that seems a bit bold, but you never know. At the same time, I think he can instantly replace Oweh. So you're getting the instant gratification with a potential for him to grow into, at least over that first contract, a player like a Khalil Mack, which essentially is saying he is a complete difference maker. You get to pair him with Thule for the next couple of years. That's only going to be a good thing for this team. So when I look at Akheem Mesidor, there was no reason why the Chargers should not have taken him. I understand the long-term discussions. Let that be a long-term discussion. Let that be something you figure out 4 or 5 years down the line. You right now, as the Los Angeles Chargers, need to win now. And you can figure out with the long-term decisions for your franchise what a second contract looks like for Mesidor when it's time to worry about that 3 years down the road. That's like you getting a girlfriend in high school at 16 years old and then saying, man, I got to break up with her. Her 401k just sucks. She doesn't have a 401k. It doesn't matter yet. You're not there. So deal with the here and now. And Akheem Mesidor, in my opinion, I know he's still a first-round pick. You got him at 22, and he should have been taken inside the top 10. That's 100% a steal to me. Who is your favorite pick for the Chargers in the draft? Let me know down below in the comment section. For me, it's a toss-up right now between Mesidor and Brennan Thompson. I think that both of those guys are absolute freaking studs. Thank you guys so much for viewing today's video. Hit that thumbs up button, obviously, if you are excited for the Los Angeles Chargers. And this offseason, got some big news. I'm sure we're going to be discussing it on tomorrow's show. Maybe we'll be discussing it later on tonight as we look around that David Njoku workout. Thank you guys so much for viewing today's video. If it's your first time hanging out with us, hit that sub button. Can't wait to see you guys next time. And as always, bolt up.